Well, Poppy, time to talk about some rugby. Rugby league is a sport.
Yes.
You're not all that au fait with the rugby.
Oh, I'm not, no, because traditionally, coming from Victoria to South Australia, always been AFL. But I was first introduced actually with the Rams with a guy called Rod Reddy, who coached them many years ago. So one of my roles was to go down there and learn about the sport.
All right. Well, luckily, Adam Levi and Kiowa Goodman will tell us a little bit about the sport. Thanks for coming in, guys.
Yeah, no problem. Pleasure.
Big long weekend for rugby here in Adelaide. How did you survive physically?
We survived physically pretty well. I thought we matched them as well as we ever have, especially up the middle of the ruck, which is important to our development. And over the 3 days, we performed very well.
Well, just take us through what happened over the long weekend, because obviously a lot of sports get together and have championships or association matches. We were speaking about AFL earlier doing that. Take us through what you both went through over the weekend. Maybe ladies first, Kiowa.
Sure. We had selected teams from the Northern Territory, Victoria and Western Australia compete with the best that South Australia's got to show. And we played each team over the weekend, collecting points to find champions in the men's and the women's.
How did you go overall?
Well, this is the first time we've had a women's side in the state championships, as far as I know.
Yes.
And we did really well.
Okay, great.
We had girls from Mount Gambier and Narracourt and the Spencer Gulf, and so we didn't get to train as a team at all. We
had a big win though.
We did. We had a big win. Yes. We lost the first day, but not by much. We drew on Saturday with Victoria, and we beat Northern Territory 36-10.
Watching the AFL right now, trying to promote the women's footy league, and you're seeing all the money and everything that's being thrown at it. When you look at that, you go, "I wish that could happen over here with the rugby."
Oh, it'd be great.
Just chipping away.
It'd be great. It's fun getting out in schools and promoting it in the community. Like I said, we come from Mount Gambier. It's it's not a small town, but we've just managed to put together a whole league from nothing.
Great.
We now have 4 men's teams, 2 women's teams. We're hoping to put juniors in this year. The men have just finished their 3rd season, and
now,
we've just
this might
finished our
sound like a
1st.
sexist question. It's not supposed to be, but what attracts a woman to play rugby league? What is it about it? Is it just the exhilaration of hitting, tackling, running, the fitness? What is it?
I think so. I think, lots of girls are brought up that their fathers play, or they've come from interstate, and so they go because their family has done it. Yeah. Others, my husband likes rugby, and so I started playing just to make up numbers to start with. Now I just love it, and it's a good way to.
Good on you.
To show your skills, show if you're fast, if you're tough.
Oh, you're tough.
What about you, Adam?
Yeah.
I mean, how did you get involved?
Well, my father used to play football in the local Port Adelaide area at Albion United there, and he used to always play footy there, and I used to venture over to the rugby union ground and watch the rugby union play. And then I developed a bit of a passion for rugby union, and then later, converted codes over to the rugby league, found it was a bit more to my credentials of my body, and I thought women played because it was the good-looking men were there.
Yeah, well, clearly you were wrong.
We like the short shorts. They're shorter than AFL shorts.
So the weekend for you played in it. I mean, a weekend of any AFL, footy, basketball, whatever sport is pretty taxing on the body. Yep. There's some pretty big hits in rugby league.
There is.
How'd you pull up Tuesday?
Pulled up okay. After having a Sunday night out as well to celebrate our accolades that we did. Yep. We stuck to our goals. We set some achievable goals. I believe the professionalism coming from rugby league, learning probably from AFL and SANFL, professionalising our rehab to our players, professionalising the way we look after and manage our nutrition and our bodies, and making sure that we do the things that we need to do, like rehydrating after games and ice baths and all those other nutritional things that the coaching staff make us do, get us up for the next day as best as we possibly can, and to play 3 games in 3 days is a big effort from anyone, and for women to do it, they showed us up this year.
I was lucky to spend time in Canberra, so I got familiar with the rugby league over there. And when you talk about it over here in South Australia, most people are not that interested in it. They go, they're just big, hulking guys. But I mean, the explosive power of the rugby league guys. If you had to take a guess over 10 metres, would an AFL bloke be quicker or a rugby guy?
I think if you talked about strength-wise and how quickly they get 120, 140 kilos moving,
up and going, yep.
And to take that on a point, we're running straight at each other. Our tackles are all developed as straight at each other. One moving object hitting another moving object, and the force of that is pretty unique to rugby league.
You know, the NFL players, for instance, so they look at Aussie rules and go, "Wow, look at the way they hit without any,
padding.
protection, padding." AFL guys look at rugby league, rugby union, and go, "Truly, how do they do it? How do rugby league guys look at AFL players?" And I won't take offence because you're bigger than me, you can do what you want anyway. But do you look at them and just go, "Man, that's weak, it's fizzy"? No,
it's just like a greyhound. A greyhound's meant to run fast and do certain things and have agility and do a certain task. And rugby league players have to make sure that they're built for a certain task too. And, and we can't lose too much size whilst also trying to have some speed. And we've sort of learnt a fair bit off of the other states in WA and the way and the type of people that they bring over to beat us and play against us with, and the physiques of those players. And you look at the Paul Gallons and that of the NRL. They want to have their speed and they want to have their burst power, and it's not also about just how far they get from point A to point B, but also the metres that are taken after impact. So if you can take 3 or 4 metres after impact, that will also bend the line, which will create a bit of an advantage for you guys. And then you can run off the next play off of that. And knowing you're running at a broken line is a lot better than running at a solid brick wall.
A lot of sports are trying to recruit kids into their sport, be it AFL, NFL, NRL, basketball, whatever it may be. A lot of on the eastern side, they look at rugby and kids just flock to rugby league. And Mount Gambier obviously doing a great job, but most of the uneducated people here see it as a brutal sport. Do you have hurdles to jump to try and convince people that's not the case?
Yes. At the same time, it's a very physical sport. There is lots of contact. There's injuries, but we play at a soccer grounds, and the soccer people that come to watch, they're not very understanding. They think we're just brutal out to hurt each other.
But at the end of the game, I've been fortunate to be in the change rooms of lots of rugby games and AFL games after they finish. They all look the same to me. I wouldn't say I've walked into a rugby league change room and thought these guys are just beaten any different than I'd walk into the AFL change room and go, these guys are beaten. So do a lot of people misinterpret because they see the hits that they just think it's brutal? I mean, the hits are...
I guess you're prepared for it, though. As you said, you condition yourself for it.
Yeah. I actually went to the chiropractor the other day and was trying to crack my back, and your body knows to be ready for it. And I think it builds a bit of character in the kids. I coach the under-6s down at our local club, and we...
Under-6s, did you say?
Yeah. Okay, so well, they're called the minis. Yeah. We modify the rules a little bit. They're still playing full tackle, but we modify it down a little bit to make it a little bit more accommodating for their
Over the
size.
journey, are you seeing more and more kids then, male and female, coming through the system? Is there an attraction?
For my club, I can definitely say yes.
Yes, we have kids waiting for a competition to start. And in the schools, I was in 2 Wells yesterday, and I could only take a small group, and there were people wanting to come and play.
Fantastic. I reckon the other thing with rugby league that gets lost is the AFL really can only be played here in Australia. When you start talking rugby league, you start talking about the world. It opens up a whole lot of doorways. So I know with basketball, when we used to talk to kids, we talked about the Olympics and your chance to see the world, and that was a big recruiting tool for our sport. Do you find that the same with you guys?
I think so. I'm not quite sure with the men. I think the women's, because it's a smaller pool to select from, there's probably a better chance of being selected in teams like the Gillaroos and in playing in the World Cup. I'm not saying that's easy by a long shot, but that's the goal for some of our girls. They want to be a Gillaroo. They want to play in the World Cup. And definitely a draw card.
All right, we need to go quickly. State of origin, Queensland, New South Wales.
Queensland for me.
Queensland?
Definitely.
Queensland,
all the way.
Yeah, Melbourne Ingram will be happy to hear that.
New South Wales, but I'm going with Queensland.
I'll stay with that too. All right, time for us to go to a break. Stay with us. Still lots to come.